Okay, well, so I wanted to start with a quote here. The world is a book, and those who do not travel read only one page. My parents were like that. They were big travelers. My mom is from London, England, and she came to Canada in 1967. We always joke that in 1867, Canada got its independence from Britain. 100 years later, it came back to rule my house in the form of my mother. And so my dad also was a traveler. He traveled to Toronto, not as far, from Montreal, Quebec, where he was a recovering Catholic priest. So my brother and I are both big travelers too. We've traveled the world. He lives in Bern, Switzerland. I said I'm from Toronto and I live in Nashville, Tennessee now. So it's amazing where the world takes you. But enough about that. I want to tell you my Irish story, right? All about Ireland. And it was Ireland that actually brought me to Nashville, Tennessee. So it was 1996, and I was backpacking Europe by myself, you know, finding myself, as it were. And I was on a ferry from Holyhead, Wales, over to Dublin. And I get off at Dublin, got my backpack, and of course, before I go to find a hostel, I found a pub, because that's what you do. And I wanted my first creamy pint of Guinness, like the real thing, because there's nothing like the stuff over there. So I sat down at the pub, I had a beer, I ordered a pint, had a pint of Guinness right there, and I overhear two tourists order Irish car bombs, which really is not a good thing to order in an Irish pub, and same with black and tan, that's also a bad one. But anyway, so I'm drinking the beer, I finish it up, it's time to head out, go find my hostel. The beer was great, and the barman fixes another pint and sits it in front of me. I'm like, I didn't order this, but before he could say anything, two guys come over to me and start talking to me, both Dubliners. And the thing about Ireland is when you are a stranger in an Irish pub, then everybody comes and talks to you, because everybody wants to know who you are, what you do, where you came from, what's your story. And so these two guys totally befriended me. The pints kept coming, I couldn't stop them. I swear, I tried. So by the end of the night, we had a great time. We stumble out into the sidewalk out front of the pub. It's dark and pouring rain. And there's the two of them. And so one of them says, you know, hey Dave, we had a great time with you tonight. You know, if you're going to be around, let's get together tomorrow. And I thought, oh, that sounds good. And I was about to answer, and the other guy comes out from the darkness and sort of says, as you said, Michael, we'll have some good crack. And I'm standing there perplexed. I hadn't heard the word crack yet. So they're looking at me, and I'm looking at them, kind of confused, like, what's up with these guys? They seem totally cool, and now they have a filthy drug habit, and you know, whatever. So I felt awkward about that, and then suddenly one of them says, aren't you into having a good time, Dave? And I'm like, no. I felt like I was like in a 1980s drug-free PSA, you know, just say no. So I say no, and they look at me like completely confused, because we had this great night, we had good crack. And sure enough, they look at each other and start busting out laughing, saying, no, not the drug! C-R-A-I-C, crack, a good time, and that's what we're having here tonight. So, fast forward, so 1998, or I should say that I traveled Ireland, I loved it, I fell in love with it, I fell in love with Galway specifically. And so I went back to Toronto for 1997, saved up enough money and decided I'm going to move to Galway for a year. What I wanted to do was truly immerse myself in the culture, not just be a tourist there in the summer months, although that's grand as well, but I really wanted to go and really feel what it was like to be there, you know, beyond the 1 week of summer. Or two, maybe, sometimes, if you're lucky. So I moved to Galway in 1998, and Galway is this gorgeous city. I don't know if you've ever been. It's facing the Atlantic Ocean. It's right on the Atlantic Ocean. It was founded probably in the 1600s, old Spanish trade city. There's a freshwater river that runs through, and the salmon all spawn, and it's called the Salmon Weir River. And there's the chapel, and it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous city. And so I was there, I was settled in, I was there for a few months, and I'm dating this girl named Jen from Australia. Go figure. So Jen calls me after work one day and says, Dave, we gotta talk. And you know when you have that we gotta talk thing, it's either that, you know, it's Splitsville, really. So I got together with her expecting it. And really, Jen and I were doomed from the very beginning, because she's from Australia and I'm from Canada, and we weren't planning on, you know, a life in either country. With each other anyway. So she broke up with me, and it was okay. And I said, you know, Jen, we're still friends. We have mutual friends, so let's go out for dinner. We'll go out on a breakup date. And she looks at me like, Dave, we just broke up. you're in denial. And I'm like, no, we gotta go out on a breakup date. And somehow, I don't know how I did it, but I convinced her to come along. So we go to this little restaurant in Galway called the Home Plate, which sadly is no longer there. And there's this beautiful blonde waitress serving us. And I swear I'm not this fast a mover. And she's just beautiful, and when she tells us the specials, she's got this like Southern American, not South American, accent. And I'm like, where are you from? And she said, Tennessee. And I'm like, okay. You can probably see where this story is going now, right? So that night, Jen went on home, and I went out to the pub, as you do, with some friends, like, just had a breakup. Any excuse to go out and get some pints. So we go out together, or with my buddies, and I'd had a few, and sure enough, in walks Heather, the waitress from Tennessee, with 2 girlfriends. And I see her, and thank God I had the power from Arthur Guinness and his sons. So I went over to her, and I said something to the effect of, hey, you're the waitress from tonight. That was a breakup date. I'm a free man. To which she said in her Tennessee way, that's nice. And then kind of meandered off with her friends. And I swear one of them said, bless his heart. I had no idea what that meant at the time. I've learned. My heart has been blessed many times. So Heather and I, we kept seeing each other, and we kept talking more and more each time we saw each other, more sober, and really got to know each other, and we fell for each other. And so we had our first date at a pub called the Crane in Galway, which is this amazing traditional music session place. It's candlelit, it's tiny, and it's just a magical place. And I'd love to tell you about it later if you want to talk more. But we had this date at the Crane. Had an amazing time. That was our first date. And I should add that Heather finally was the one who asked me out. So there's that. So fast forward, that's true. So fast forward to 1999, we backpacked through Ireland, and then we're going through Europe. And Ireland and Galway was always home base. And so we backpacked to Italy. We're traveling Italy for 3 months, living in a tent together. And we're at the Amalfi Coast, and I'm on the phone calling my dad. And the Amalfi Coast is like a picture postcard, gorgeous place, right? So I call my dad, and I'm talking to my dad on a payphone, doing my weekly check-in to let him know I'm still alive. And I'm telling him all about, all of the stuff that we're doing. And he says, David, you have traveled with her, you live in a tent with her, you're camping with her, you're backpacking with her, ask her to marry you. Now this is advice from a guy who had failed 3 marriages. And the first one, well, he's an Irish Catholic, Canadian, and my mom is a British Protestant. So, I guess maybe it wasn't meant to be. But anyway, so long of it, I yell over to Heather with the phone. I say, hey, Heather, my dad thinks we should get married. And then we're like, wait a minute, that would be a good idea. We could do this. So we fast forward to 2001. We come back to North America, and we settle down, we get married, and we have 2 kids. We still have them. We kept them, Ella and Sam. And my son was born in 2006, or 5, and my daughter was born in 2006. They're 11 and a half months apart. And some of you may know what that is. Irish twins. It's like we should have seen it coming, right? So I always joke one was playing, one wasn't, but I won't say who. So, but we're loving life. We were there for 6 Canadian winters, which were enough from a girl from Tennessee. And it was traveling that brought us together. And traveling to Ireland is so important. And traveling the world and seeing the world is so important. And it was travel that brought us together. And so we decided, let's travel again. And we landed in Nashville, Tennessee. The world is a book, and those who do not travel only turn one page. Thank you, everybody.